Oh, hello! My name is Mara, and welcome to Books Like Whoa. Okay guys, get your tea, get your coffee, get your hot chocolate. I have my Trader Joe's La Croix knockoff here that I will be sipping on because today we're going to go ahead and start talking about my most anticipated books for 2019, and it is a list, let me tell you. Now, the reason I decided to go ahead and do this is that I do think for those of you who request arcs and whatnot, you can start getting some of these arcs. Also, for those of you who are big library users, you can go ahead and start trying to get in line for some of these things that are coming out in January or February, or at least my library lets me make suggestions and stuff through their Overdrive app, so you can start suggesting and therefore getting in line when they do or don't. Well, they presumably would buy some of these books, but I have quite a list of things that are on my radar for 2019. I think I will come back probably in January or February and check in with you guys about which of these I'm actually planning on trying to get to, because I liked doing that this year, where I made a little list of things that I'm like, oh, I really actually do want to try to read those this year. I think that was a fun project. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to try to keep things moving, but this is probably going to be a decent length video. So yeah, grab your popcorn and let's do this. Let's start with the three that I actually already have arcs for, so I will be getting to these, and these all come out in early January. So the first one, and probably the one I'm most excited for, is The Ones You Fight For by Roni Loren. It is the third in a series about different people who survived a high school shooting at their prom 10 years earlier, and it's romance, contemporary romance, so it's them having a love story out of that. The first one was excellent. Probably my favorite romance I've read so far this year. It was really, really good, so I'm excited for this. It comes out on January 1st. And then I have The Elephant in the Room by Tomlinson, which comes out on January 8th. And it is a journalist's kind of memoir about what it's like to lose a significant amount of weight. And I definitely can relate to that because I've lost like a third of my body weight in the last year. So I'm excited to kind of read someone else's kind of experience of what that's like. And then I also got Thick by Tressie, McMillian, Cottam. And this also comes out on January 8th. And I'm very excited for it because it was sold to me as, if you like Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper, you will like this. And I loved Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper. It's one of my favorite books of this year, so I'm excited to find a read-alike title. So yeah, I'm excited to get to that one as well. So all three of those I will definitely read because I have arcs of them already, and so like they're on the list. So let's move to all the ones that I have a date for and that are in the first half of 2019, and I'll just kind of run through these a little quicker, just trying to do these roughly chronologically, and just letting you know some of the ones that I'm interested in and may or may not pick up. At the beginning of January, it's listed as January 1. There is a book from Jill Abramson called News Wars coming out. She's a former editor of the New York Times, and I think that this is about sort of the crazy political and journalistic landscape that's been happening for the last few years. So that was supposed to come out late this year, but got pushed into early next year. Then there's a book called The Similars by Rebecca Hanover, and that comes out on January 1st as well. And it seems like it's kind of a mystery with a twist take on a boarding school. I think that there's some sci-fi elements to it. The description sounded really interesting, so definitely keeping my eye open for that. Then we have In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire that comes out on January 8th. That is the fourth in her Wayward Children series, which I have been absolutely loving. It's one of my favorite new series that I've read this year, so definitely looking forward to that one. I have no idea what this fourth one is about. I don't care. I will read it and enjoy it. Then on the 22nd, another kind of ongoing series moment here from Maureen Johnson called The Vanishing Stair, and it is the sequel to Truly Devious, which I quite enjoyed at the beginning of last year. My biggest critique of that book was that there were some real pacing issues in the first book. I think that it was just too much build-up and setup. So I'm really excited because where the first book left off, I think we're finally really getting into the meat of the action. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. Then for two more books that are going to come out in January, one is Vigilance by Robert Jackson Bennet, who's somebody I quite enjoy. And this looks like it's sort of a short novel that is some sort of sci-fi take on gaming and like a gaming culture, so I'm interested and will kind of keep my eye open on that to see if it's something I want to read. And then a nonfiction pick is A Serial Killer's Daughter by Kerri Rawson, which also comes out on the 29th of January, and it's essentially a memoir from the daughter of the BT BTK serial killer. So I'm not sure if I'll read that or not, but it's definitely a very interesting premise. So I will kind of see what the reviews are like, and I may be getting to that one on audio or something. Okay, and then 3 things that I'm looking for in February. The first is The Test by Sylvain Neuval. I think that this is basically some sort of SFF short novel where the protagonist is taking a citizenship test and like shit gets real and like supernatural in some way. I've never read that author, but I've heard a lot of good things, and it's a short novel with a premise that intrigues me, so I may get to that one. And then Bloodwitch also comes out on February 12th, and that is the 3rd, really I would argue the 4th, in the Witchland series by Susan Dennard, and I've quite enjoyed the earlier ones. My favorite of the 3 that have come out is the prequel novella that I would argue should be read as the first book. It was called Sight Witch, and it's my favorite. Truth Witch, which is the second full novel, was a little iffy for me. I had some like essentially problems with the plot, but I really like the characters, and I think that the second book was doing a lot of setup for this 3rd one, so I'm really excited to see what happens in the 3rd one. And then Stone Cold Heart by Laura Griffin comes out on February 26th, and that is the latest in a new series that I have started following. I've not even sort of made all my way through it, but it's one that I don't think you have to read in order to enjoy. And it's basically kind of cozy thriller-ish. Like it's an interconnected series, like lots of different couples. It's romantic suspense, but it's like all these different people related to this one forensic lab, and they investigate like serial killers and like weird crimes that happen in Texas. Anyway, I really enjoyed the sort of vibe of that, so I'm looking forward to a new one in that series. Okay guys, sorry, done fucked up because I forgot that I already have this physical arc of What We Buried by Kate A. Boorman. It comes out on February 26th. Bethany, a beautifully bookish Bethany, sent it to me, which was very sweet of her, and she really enjoyed it. It was a YA like psychological thriller, so yeah. Looking forward to getting to that. Really only one in March that I've got my eye on / have already pre-ordered, and that is Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. Not original there. I think that's going to be a very hyped book that a lot of people are looking forward to. But yeah, it's the second in her series about this kind of African magic-based system where an underclass of magic practitioners who have been oppressed and like just like treated horribly for the last little bit, and how they're like rising up and like taking shit back. So I'm excited for that. It's a YA fantasy that I think I'm really hopeful that I'll like it even more than the first one, because the first one had some pacing issues for me. So I'm hoping that the second book will address some of that. Okay, 2 on my radar for April. One is the Austen Playbook by Lucy Parker. It comes out sometime in April. They haven't set the definitive date yet. I absolutely love Lucy Parker. She's one of my favorite contemporary romance authors. She's one that I recommend to a lot of non-romance readers because her books don't have a lot of explicit sex, which I know is a barrier to entry for some. And also they're just really cute. They're really well written. They have interesting setups because they're all between actors or directors or backhand stage people, whatever, in the West End, the London Theatre District. So it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoy I've not read a bad one in that series yet. There's 3 of them so far. This would be the 4th. Very excited for that. And then one that I don't know a lot about yet, but the premise sounded interesting to me, is Ragged Alice by Gareth Powell, I believe is his name. And this sounded interesting to me because it's set in Wales, and it's a girl who grows up there who can literally see the evil in people's souls. And then she goes to London to become a police person, and she ends up coming back to her hometown. So it sounded like sort of a mystery SFF mashup, and I tend to like those kind of genre bending things. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in that, and I think that comes out April 23rd. Okay, and then moving into May, Shauna McGuire has a new middle grade series that is coming out, and the first one is called Middle Game. It comes out on May 7th, and I don't remember the premise, but doesn't even really matter because at this point I'm just interested in anything Shauna McGuire is going to do in sort of like a short fantasy space, because I just love the Wayward Children's series so much. Then the sequel to The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang comes out on May 7th as well. It's called The Bride Test, and I believe it is with the autistic cousin of the hero from The Kiss Quotient, so I'm really excited about that. I quite enjoyed The Kiss Quotient. The hardest part for me in that book was the fact that it was a trope of sex worker and client fall in love, and that's not, I think, what this will be. So I'm hoping it's everything I loved about The Kiss Quotient, and I won't have to get over sort of my just intrinsic ick factor with that trope. So I'm very excited for that. Then on May 14th, there's a book called We Hunt the Flame by, let me double check the name here, is Hafsa Faisal, I believe is how you say this name. And it is an assassin badass bitch who is in sort of like a Middle Eastern type culture, fantasy, magical world. So that sounds really intriguing to me. I'm excited for that. Then there's one called Cliff's Edge by Meg Tilly that comes out on May 21st. Now, I haven't even read the first book in this new kind of romantic suspense series, but the first one is called Soulless Island, and I am super excited to read it. It sounds exactly like the kind of thing I've been in the mood to read recently, so I'm already excited for the sequel because assuming I like the first one, I definitely will be into this next one. And then the only other thing in May I wanted to point out is that The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang is coming out then. Now, I haven't finished The Poppy War because I got, like, it went back to the library, and then I've had all of these books that I had to read in terms of, like, book club and ARC and whatever, so, like, I haven't gotten back around to finishing The Poppy War yet, but I really enjoyed what I had read so far of it, so I'm excited that there is a sequel that's following on to it so quickly, because sometimes that's not how it works, so very excited to get to that. So the last one that I have a date for in the first half of the year that I am very excited about, and those of you who are longtime watchers of my channel are going to laugh about this, is Wolf's Rain by Nalini Singh, which is another book in the Side Changeling series. If you've watched this channel, you know that I have been trying so hard to catch up with this effing series for so long, like since I started BookTube. So it's been like a year and a half that I've been meaning to catch up with these books. I love them. I don't know why I keep putting them off, but I am hoping, come hell or high water, by the time Wolf's Rain comes out on the 4th of June of next year, I will be caught up and ready to read the latest installment. That is the plan. Okay, and then things that I either have a date for, but they are later in 2019, so they're much more prone to get pushed or changed, and or things that I know are coming out sometime in 2019, but we don't have a firm date for yet. First, we should be getting 3, I think, books from Alona Andrews next year. Now, one of them should be Sweep of the Blade, which is the latest Innkeeper Chronicles book that is being published chapter by chapter right now on their website, but the bind up, final edit, everything should come out, I would guess, if I were guessing, I would say early next year, so maybe like March or April. So that should be coming out. The second Iron Covenant book from Alona Andrews should be coming out, I'm gonna guess maybe in June or July. So that I'm very excited to see where Hugh and Alara's story is gonna continue. I really, really liked the first book in that spin-off trilogy, so I'm excited for the next one. And then we also should be getting the 4th Hidden Legacy book from Alona Andrews, which will now be following Nevada's younger sister Catalina. It will be from her point of view for the next few books, so excited for that. I think it also jumps forward in time. In November we got Diamond Fire, which was the bridging novella. So anyway, lots of Alona Andrews, I think, next year, so that is always exciting because I absolutely love Alona Andrews. And then 3 things with dates that will come out later in the year next year. So one is The Wallflower Wager by Tessa Dare. Right now is scheduled to come out August 27th, 2019, and that will be the 3rd book in the series that's The Duchess Deal, The Governess Game, and then now The Wallflower Wager. It's just a super cute series. It's really great historical romance. Tessa Dare is probably my favorite historical romance author who's writing right now. Just, I really like her lightness of touch. She's great. So that's on the docket to come out. The 3rd Heartstone book is supposed to come out, I think, on the 5th of September of 2019. So quite a ways away. Good chance that that could shift around, but I really love the first one. I'm excited to read the second one. I haven't yet. It comes out this month. And then that would be the 3rd one. And then Alexandra Christo, who I've not read any of her stuff yet, but she has a book called Into the Crooked Place coming out, I think, in October of 2019. And it basically sounds like some sort of YA fantasy that is a magical heist, and like I'm all about that trope, so just based on that, it's on my radar of like, ooh, that might be one that I would enjoy. Okay, and then finally, the last things I wanted to point out are 2 things that I read the first books this year, and I'm not sure if I'm going to continue or not. And then 2 authors who I usually always have my eye on in terms of like when is their next book coming out, and I don't see any releases for them right now in 2019, and that is making me a little sad. So the ones that are making me sad, because I like these authors, are both contemporary romance authors, Mariana Zapata and Jessica Clare. I don't see anything on the docket for them in 2019 yet from what I can tell. I'm going to keep my eyes open, and I'm hoping that I'm going to get something from them because I really like both of them. They're great, just sort of like escapist fun romance that just really works for me. So I'm definitely keeping my eye for those two. And then 2 books that are coming out next year, and I'm just not sure if I really want to continue in the series because both of these worked as standalones to me. Like their original novel I quite liked, or in one case loved, but I don't know if I want any more. Like I kind of liked where the first book left things. So that is The Hazelwood has a sequel that's coming out sometime in 2019 by Melissa Albert. I actually really liked the ending of The Hazelwood, and I really liked The Hazelwood in general. Like it was 4.5 stars for me. I really liked it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep reading. And then the other one is the next book in the Queen's Rising series, which is called The Queen's Resistant by Rebecca Ross. That is slated to come out on March 5th of 2019. And again, I liked the first book fine. I think it was 4 stars is what I ended up giving it. It was good, but by the end of the book, I was like, I don't see how this is a series because I feel like everything that I cared about has been addressed. So I don't know that I really want to continue with that series. We'll see. Okay, and those are all of the books that are sort of anticipated for me, on my radar for me right now for 2019. Next year, I really am going to try to focus a lot more on backlist than frontlist. I kind of got swept up in things this year to a degree. Not that it was bad, I had a good reading year, but I feel happier when I'm reading a little bit more backlist than I have been, and am not letting myself just feel like, oh, I have to keep up, I have to read all these hyped books. I like to kind of set my own course and chart my own path. So anyway, I am still looking at some things for 2019, but I don't think I will be as on top of new releases as I might have been this year. But those are some of the ones that I'm at least keeping my eye on and might get worked into the mix. We'll see how things go. But anyway, I know this is a little bit early to do this video, but I'll probably revisit it once we actually get into 2019 and have a little firmer dates on more books. But let me know if there's any ones that are coming out next year that you're excited about, or things that you think I would like, things that you want to make sure everybody else knows that they're coming, etc. Definitely let me know in the comments. And yeah, I think that will do it. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below. I think that will do it. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!